Now with Democratic U.S. Senator Pete Welch of Vermont. Senator Welch, good Friday morning to you and welcome. Your state serves as one of the main arteries from the eastern U.S. into Canada. You got massive amounts of trade. What's the reaction among residents of your state to this trade war and the lake name change?
Well, it's incredibly damaging to Vermont, both economically and emotionally, because Canadians are a big part of our tourism industry, and we've lost about 50% of our tourism industry as a result of this trade war and also the insults from the president. But Vermont's not unique. 34 states have as their biggest trading partner Canada. So this has been really punishing. Farmers are paying more for fertilizer. Manufacturers don't have any idea what the cost of their product will be. It's been incredibly disruptive. And then when the president is insulting Lake America, the 51st state, the governor of Canada, all of these things are deteriorating what has been a beneficial, extremely beneficial relationship between our state and Canada, but that applies to 33 other states as well.
It's a good point you make about tourism, because Canadians are not happy about this, obviously. They're insulted, and I can imagine that tourism is down. Senator, you're introducing a bill to refund fees paid from tariffs. It's called the Bad Deal Act. Tell us how that works, and if people are being reimbursed by the government, are taxpayers still footing that bill?
Well, in fact, there's a lot of disruption. I mean, this tariff that the president is imposing goes back to Smoot-Hawley. And that's notorious because it was one of the factors that led to the Great Depression. We believe he has no authority. So Senator Gillibrand and I are introducing this bill. And frankly, we're looking to get Republican co-sponsors in support. Because when I talk to my Republican colleagues, and ones on the border especially, they are against these tariffs. The impact hurts the people they represent. But they've got to do what Carney did, and that is to stand up to the bullying of Donald Trump. So our legislation would, number one, say these are illegal, something we shouldn't have to say because the Constitution gives only Congress the right to raise taxes. But number two, it would guarantee a refund to people who had to pay them, and those are largely the business enterprises.
You know, the president and Republicans will tell you this administration needs to act tough. The bluster is necessary. That's what voters put him in office to do. But I know that last week you introduced the Canada Act. What are the chances it will pass? Because this is a time when Americans are watching closely which politicians are really fighting for their pocketbook.
No, that's true. But, you know, there's not... What you want in a political leader, especially our president, is effectiveness. It's not about bluster. Bluster is a way he can act to be effective on our behalf to bring down cost. More power to him. But essentially, this insult approach and a tariff approach where essentially you're raising the cost to consumers and to businesses on both sides of the border is really detrimental. So I think the president is just digging a deeper hole in substituting wise and cooperative relationship with our longest standing ally. Canada has always been there. They're our friend. So why do you insult them and dig a hole that's deeper? Bottom line here is that this trade war is really harmful for everyday people on both sides of the border, and it's got to end. This hurts. It doesn't help.
Senator, the president says that the U.S. is losing a lot of money due to the current trade arrangement with Canada. Is there truth to that?
No, there isn't. He mistakes and confuses a trade deficit as opposed to losing money. You know, around the world, we can have, with some countries, a deficit and others with a surplus. But the bottom line is what he's doing is raising prices with these tariffs. Tariffs are a tax. Make no mistake about that. So we get electricity from Canada here in Vermont. If we have a trade war and our home heating and electricity costs go way up, that's going to be brutal for Vermonters. So no, I fundamentally disagree with what the president's theory is, because what is absolutely certain is when you raise tariffs, you raise taxes, and you raise prices for businesses, for farmers and consumers.
All right. Senator Peter Welch from the beautiful state of Vermont, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.